What's your opinion on the ocean? Do you think that it's beautiful? Do you think that it's terrifying, maybe even whimsical? That the megalodons are maybe still alive? Well, you see, my boy Dave here. He fucking loves the ocean. Dave is a very simple man. He sees a body of water, he wants to dive in it. That's just how he is. If you haven't put it together already, today's about Dave the Diver. That you saw him earlier. That Dave the Diver. This game is fantastic, by the way. It has consumed the past 2 weeks of my life, and there is a very good reason for that. It is masterfully made, and we're gonna talk about that today. So strap in. Here we go. I really don't even know where to start with this game. There is so much to do. Spit it out, Junior. It was published and developed by a company called Mint Rocket, and this has to be one of the most unique and artistic and heart-driven game I have ever played. It is insanely addicting just by how the mechanics work, and it melds together so many different types of games that you have played, like farming simulators, bullet hells, 2D side scrollers, and it pays homages to so much, but in a very tasteful and fun way. From the very first moment you start this game, it hooks you with this beautiful animation, dude. Holy shit. Look at it. Look, I don't know what it is about the animation of this game, but it itches my brain in the perfect spot. It's so good, dude. So then you start the tutorial, and the tutorial is actually very nice. It's not very long and tedious. In fact, this game has a lot of mini tutorials that pops up as you play when they are needed. It's not one long one, and there's a reason for that. So you start the tutorial, and it teaches you the basics of how to dive. And from this point, I was under the impression that this was pretty much the game, and that you were just gonna dive and collect fish and bring it back up to the boat and go prepare for the sushi restaurant that Dave now owns, which is implied through the first cutscene. Holy shit, was I wrong? I went into this game thinking that it was going to be like a 5-10 hour game max. It was like $15. It really can't be that long. I played it. And then that happened, dude. It is so addicting. I played this game for 40 fucking hours. So after you get out of the tutorial, the game kind of opens up to you, and you realize that starts out as a kind of a day-night cycle game, where during the day your job is to catch fish, bring it back to the sushi shop, prepare it for customers, unlock new recipes. You can hire staff to micromanage the restaurant for you to make it easier, because my boy Dave here is not very athletic. I'm not holding it against him. I'm just saying it how it is. Now, what starts off as a pretty normal gameplay loop, where it's a day-night cycle, where during the day you're catching your fish, and during the night you're preparing it for your shop and learning your recipes, it very quickly opens up to you and becomes much, much more than that. I mean, this game has so many things that you are not expecting it to have, and I read that whenever I was looking at the reviews for this game, because it was very overwhelmingly positive. But I didn't expect it to this extent at all. It took me by complete surprise. The first thing that the game kind of introduces to you to an extent is you have these VIP guests that are parodies of actual people. Like different directors of movies, different sports players, rappers, and they'll request a special dish from your chef, and you get rewarded for collecting the ingredients and serving them. And that's just a fun way that they keep it interesting, and you have like something to look forward to. And it also comes with amazing cutscenes of all of them being served and them eating the food that I loved. And it's definitely worth it to do them if you're playing it. Just all the cutscenes are worth it. Just go do it. So the game starts out with a already strong sense of progression, where you can upgrade your diving suit, your harpoon gun, and your oxygen tank in your cargo space. to go deeper, to carry more fish, to kill more like larger fish to take with you, such as sharks. But then the game also introduces many other aspects that you can also upgrade, such as this guy named Duff. He's a fucking Giga Chad, and you can't say anything to change my mind. Look at him. Look at that goddamn face. Now, at this point in the game, you unlock a table where you can essentially see how to upgrade your weapons and what different upgrades you have. Now, there's a lot of different weapons to choose from, and they're all viable, and you can pick from any amount of them. But then there's also the elemental damage that you can add onto them, such as your fire damage, your poison damage, your lightning damage, and your ice damage. Now, all of these have their own different status effects, and they do their own thing. Ice slows down fish, poison does damage over time, fire also does damage over time, and lightning will stun them and slow them down to an extent, but they can still move. All of them are amazing status effects, and they're all very viable. But this is the first thing that the game opens up to you, and there's a lot more after this. Now, these upgrades are to better prepare you for the story, and the deeper you go into the sea, the bigger the wildlife you face, and the more prepared you're going to have to be to fight them. The story in itself is around 20 hours long for me. I just played the game for an additional 20 because there's that much to do. And it was a lot longer than I was expecting it to be, but it doesn't overstay by any means. Like, the story is good enough and well written enough to be that long, and it does keep you constantly compelled to find out what's going to happen next. And all of the characters are written very well, and they're very charming. This game is incredibly charming in its own way, and I just can't even explain it. You have to go play it. It's just the amount of heart that was put into these characters, the artwork, and all of it is amazing. Side note, there's also a social media app in the game called Cooksta, which the whole bit about your guys' account is your chef Boncho doesn't know how to take pictures, and all of them are blurry and out of focus, and it made me laugh every time. But as you get a more basic understanding of the grounding concepts, such as the weapons and the diving, then as you get more into the story, it opens up even more to you with a farming concept where you can plant your own seeds and grow your own ingredients that are better, and allows you to learn more recipes. And there's a whole another side story with that, which is very well written. And then it also opens up with a fish farm where you can put less emphasis on actually catching fish and grow them and breed them, instead allowing you to go dive more and put more emphasis on the exploration rather than stressing about catching the fish, which is very, very useful for the mid to end game, and it is incredibly fun. Some of the ways this game introduces its characters is hilariously funny. There's this app in the game called Marinka, and I'm not sure how to fully pronounce it. And the character that tells you about it is very obviously based off of Ash Ketchum from Pokemon, and he comes in paddling a goddamn fish boat like he's riding a Pokemon, and it made me laugh so hard. As you get farther in the story, you'll have to do these puzzles in these kind of cavern areas, and the puzzles are just kind of like the Uncharted puzzles, where it's not necessarily a lot of thinking. It's, you know how to do it, and you just kind of gotta mechanically do it yourself. It's not very hard to figure any of them out, and I wish that they were a little bit harder. It's mostly just kind of busy work to get through the story, but that was my only real complaint, is that the puzzles are okay, and sometimes those dungeons feel like they go on for a little bit too long. But anything beyond that is incredibly well made, and this game was a ton of fun to play, and it just recently fully released in June. So if you haven't gotten it yet, I very highly recommend that you at least go try this game out, and just fucking trust me, dude. Play it for like 4 hours and you'll love it. You'll immediately get it and you'll love it. But I think that was all I really had to say. Sorry it's taken me a little bit to get this video out. I am taking a college class right now, and so it's kind of hard having to study and then make this video and then study and having to kind of divvy up my time. But yeah, I'm still gonna try and upload, but I'll see you guys in the next video. Please stay safe, and always show kindness to each other. And that's about it. So see you next time, everyone.